Gelfling!
To my fellow Dungeons and Dragons fans out there, have you ever been inspired by an epic adventure or an original character and thought, wish I could do that? Well, let me explain to you how strength, dexterity, and constitution actually work in the real world, and what you can do to improve on them. Now, of course, we're going to start with strength because that's the attribute at the top of your character sheet. Now, when people hear strength, generally they think muscle. But let me tell you, when it comes to strength and power, it's more in the tendons. Now, tendons are basically where the muscle fibers bunch up together and attach onto bones. Wrapped up in there is a little sensory receptor known as the Golgi tendon organ. And that senses tension within the muscle fibers. Basically, when it senses too much tension, it tells the muscle to stop and relax to avoid potential injury. When you train your muscles with high resistance or high intensity, such as lifting very heavy weights, or jumping as high or as long as you can, sprinting, things like that, you're putting more stress on the tendons and their connective tissues, which grow stronger in response over time. In addition, the Golgi tendon organ learns that you can handle more tension, so it'll give you a bit more slack, so to speak. So it is actually possible to have a lot of muscle but not be very strong. Conversely, you could also be very lean and be very strong. Hopefully this gives you a new perspective on bodybuilders and performance athletes.
Well, actually...
Of course, it does get to the point where you can't improve one without the other. But that's a much more advanced topic, and there is such a thing as too much information. Let's move on. When it comes to muscle, there are 3 different muscle fibers that our body can work with. There's type 1 muscle fibers, which are for light tension but high volume, such as with marathon running or cycling. There's type 2A, or slow twitch muscle fibers, which are for high tension but slow movement, such as with heavy deadlifts or leg presses. And there's type 2B, or fast twitch muscle fibers, which are high tension, fast movement muscle fibers, such as with jumping, punching, lifting heavy weights at high speed, and similar performance sports movements. So in Dungeons and Dragons, the strength attribute is a generalized amalgamation of tendons, type 2A and type 2B muscle fibers. At least when it comes to natural strength, not magical strength, obviously. I'll move on to constitution now, as we kind of touched on it a little bit already. When it comes to physical performance, strength might determine how much you can lift, but constitution determines how many times you can lift it before you become exhausted. Of course, it's also a measure of overall health, including cardiovascular efficiency, such as how long you can maintain a jog or a run.
I'm wasted on cross-country! We dwarves are natural sprinters!
Shrugging off the effects of intoxication.
Last one standing wins.
Fighting toxins and diseases.
Run, Reed! Everything hurts! Because you're worthless!
Bone and muscle density.
You tin-tongued dolt! I'm talking about my patience, not my body!
And how your body responds to and recovers from stress and trauma.
He was twitching.
He was twitching, because he's got my axe embedded in his nervous system!
To develop a high constitution, here's what you're going to need. High volume fitness training. A moderate intensity but high volume fitness program will help develop bigger and more dense muscles, whereas endurance training, or light intensity but quite high volume, such as in marathon running, will develop a lighter, leaner, and more efficient physique. It is possible to develop both, but this is kind of a skilled in many, master of none kind of thing, a bit like multi-classing. In other words, CrossFit. Now, there's nothing wrong with CrossFit, only the people that injure themselves while doing it irresponsibly. You'll also need a good diet, not just in terms of nutrition, because that's a no-brainer. I'm talking about a diet that's low in toxins and a diet that's low in inflammatory foods. You'll also need a good balance in macronutrients, which is protein, carbohydrates, and fats. But I'm talking in terms of your lifestyle or your intended lifestyle. Not some generic cookie-cutter diet program that gets flicked about on the internet willy-nilly. Another thing that helps is good old-fashioned experience. Exposure to acute stresses, be they physical, mental, or digestive, or even within your cells. But note I said acute stresses, not chronic stresses. Acute stress is something that happens every now and then, just a bit, here and there. Chronic stress is something that's happening all the friggin' time. Chronic stress is bad. Don't get chronic stress. To go into any further detail on this topic is going to require its own video. I'm moving on now. We're going to dexterity. Now, I left dexterity last for a very good reason. It is a huge, broad, grey area of words, such as agility, flexibility, mobility, coordination, reflexes, reaction time, fine motor skills. Let's get a thesaurus. Artistry, cleverness, deftness, finesse, ingenuity, knack, know-how, mastery, nimbleness, proficiency, skill, smoothness, tact, address, adroitness, aptness, art, craft, cunning, effortlessness, expertise, expertness, facility, handiness, neatness, readiness, skillfulness, touch. But when it comes to musculoskeletal performance, dexterity covers the range of motion, namely how far can your muscles stretch, and how fast can they stretch before they need to stop. Take, for example, doing the splits to duck under an opponent's attack. That's dexterity. Call this flexibility or mobility if you like. Now, if you want to improve on this, it's not just about stretching the muscles regularly. It's also about training the muscle spindles. Muscle spindles are these little sensory organs that tell your muscles to stop stretching if they're stretching too far. A bit like the opposite of the Golgi tendon organ. And it's not so much about stretching the muscle into its full range of motion, it's actually more about relaxing the muscle into its full range of motion. Well, that covers agility and flexibility, but the rest of it is all governed neurologically. It's all controlled by neurons. Things like reaction time, coordination, fine motor skills. These are all governed by neurons that connect into the spine or into the brain. And it's through intense, repetitive study, concentration, intent accuracy that these neurons are developed. If you want to improve on your coordination, practice a skill or a movement until you get it right. Then practice it until you can't get it wrong. Then practice it until you can't get it wrong under pressure and in a variety of challenging circumstances. Then you might start to develop some real coordination. As for reflexes and reaction time, this is where dexterity meets intelligence, as it's all cognitive performance. Reflexes are instinctive, a bit more like muscle memory, and the neurons that govern reflexes are connected in with the spinal cord. Reaction time, on the other hand, is a conscious activity, and it's connected in with the brain. Reaction time is one of the hardest skills to develop directly and intentionally, as there are so many contributing factors that can have an effect on one's overall reaction time, and it can be very different depending on what sport you're participating in. It actually warrants like a whole video series, or even a whole separate YouTube channel on the subject. There's even things like diet, sleep, regular daily activities, and daily routines can all have a major impact on one's overall reaction time. But one thing all these factors have in common is it's all up here. It's all about how the brain is functioning, how the cognitive abilities are all working together, meshing together. Whether it's about eliminating distractions or flowing more efficiently, it's all up here. Whoever linked initiative to dexterity needs to see this video. Please share it with them. Okay, we've come to the point in the video where I need to ask you a small favor. Comment if you want to see more of these D&D rules for real videos. Because I'm enjoying making them, and I don't just want to talk about them, I want to demonstrate them to you. I'm particularly excited about demonstrating Flurry of Blows, because that's going to be a lot of fun. Check back later for that one. Now, I know I'm only a beginner, small-time YouTuber, one in a crowd of millions. I've got crappy lighting, terrible editing skills, I'm covering a niche topic within a niche topic. How else can I negatively critique myself? I'm monotonous, I've got a very strange sense of humor, I upload irregularly, my topics are inconsistent, I kind of look like a wannabe Ragnar Lothbrok, and what is with this background? So if you can look past all that, by all means, tap that subscribe button and the notification bell, and share one of your favorite videos of mine on your favorite social media platform. Yeah, I'm not just mucking around anymore. I'm actually pretty serious about this YouTube channel now, and it's going to be going pro eventually, one way or another. There are many compounding medical reasons and lifestyle reasons why I'm transitioning away from my IT career and into fitness, and more specifically working for myself. And the YouTube channel is a major component of that. So every subscription, every share helps more than you might think. You know, this isn't just about fame and random acts of stupidity. No, this is a lifestyle transition, and I do want to bring value to people's lives without asking for money. Anyway, there is a big backstory behind that, but no one pays any attention to them anyway. So I'm going to close off the video now and return to my little dark corner of the room. Bye bye. See you in the next video.